I was probably 16th choice for Captain America.
Big risks can have big payoffs, but maybe more often they end in epic fails. Auditions for professional actors are no exception, and these stars know firsthand. Stick around for 15 auditions actors wish they could forget.
When I was 12, I auditioned for All That. Do you know All That?
Number 1. We've seen Tom Holland in more than a few big roles now, but this one seems almost unexpected.
I think John Boyega was just better for the role than me.
When he was asked to audition for the role of Finn in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, Tom struggled with the audition, but it sounds like it wasn't nerves that got the best of him. Tom explains, "I remember my audition for Star Wars. I was like 4 or 5 auditions in, and I think I was auditioning for John Boyega's role. I remember doing this scene with this lady, bless her, and she was just a drone. So I was doing all of this like, we gotta get back to the ship, and she was going bleep bloop bloop bleep bloop."
I just couldn't stop laughing.
Number 2. Ask anyone who has done one and they'll probably tell you that no one likes auditioning. We think Lizzo would agree. She said, "I'm not good at auditioning. I'm like, put me in the scene. Don't ask me to audition. Just write it for me." She arrived at this conclusion after her audition for the role of Ursula in The Little Mermaid flopped. Lizzo got the chance to have a conversation with the actor who did get the role of Ursula, though. She ran into Melissa McCarthy at an Adele concert. "Hi, I'm Melissa." And I was like, "I also auditioned for Ursula." And she was like, "Well, why the hell did I get the part?" And then I was like, "Girl, because my audition was terrible."
"I'm a very busy woman and I haven't got all day. It won't cost much, just your voice."
Number 3. Timothée Chalamet seemed a little under the weather when he auditioned to play Spider-Man in the MCU. The role later went to Tom Holland, but not before Chalamet had his less-than-fun audition experience. He explained, "I read twice and I left sweating, in a total panic. I called my agent, Brian Swardstrom, and I said, 'Brian, I thought about this a lot, and I have to go back and knock on that door and read again.' Chalamet thought he hadn't done a good job. His agent cautioned him against going into the room, and ultimately Chalamet did not get the role." Number 4. Jake Gyllenhaal failed his quest of audition for the role of Frodo in Lord of the Rings.
"And when they said they need a hobbit, we thought, Jake!"
He describes his audition experience, saying the first scene had no lines and was simply stage directions that told him to look at the ring. Not knowing the context, Jake didn't realize the gravity of the scene and glanced over the imaginary ring in a casual and almost flippant fashion.
So I sort of walked up and I sort of opened it up and I was like, "Is that good?"
He did get to speak in the other audition scenes, but similarly misunderstood the audition when he didn't prepare an accent for the role. Director Peter Jackson allegedly joked with him saying,
"You are the worst actor I have ever seen." He's like, "Did anyone tell you you're supposed to have an accent?"
Number 5. Just because you're auditioning to play a pirate doesn't mean you should get into the grog too early. This audition experience almost sounds like a method actor preparing. The night before his audition for William Bill Turner in the Pirates of the Caribbean, actor Tom Hiddleston went out partying. Hiddleston admitted he got drunk the night before to celebrate a friend's final exams and was hungover at his audition the next day. But he was up against more than just a hangover. Tom had received the script only the day before and hadn't even memorized his lines. Number 6. Full House of Dragons? Sorry, we had to. Auditioning for the role of Daenerys in Game of Thrones was less than fun for actor Elizabeth Olsen.
Right, I auditioned for Game of Thrones.
Who described her experience saying that she auditioned for the assistant to the casting director and did the Khaleesi speech when she comes out of the fire, and calling her audition awful.
And that was the furthest I got. It was that bad.
Number 7. The Star Wars movies have played host to a number of peculiar characters, so it's no surprise to hear that Eddie Redmayne found himself auditioning for one. Eddie describes his audition experience as having made a fatal mistake. He says he put on a ridiculous voice. That was a really hilarious moment because it was Nina Gold, who I have to thank a lot because she's cast me in several films. And she was just sitting there and I was trying again and again with different versions of my voice. And after like 10 shots, she's like, "You got anything else?" I was like, "No."
Adam Driver got the part, which was great for not only the Star Wars universe, but the universe generally.
Number 8. It turns out she's not all that. Actor Emma Stone could have been a cast member on All That, but wasn't prepared enough for her audition. She thought she'd be given sketches, but 5 minutes before, she was told she needed to have 3 characters prepared.
So I was like, okay. And then I made up a couple of characters.
But in the face of the prepared competition, it was just not enough to get her a role. You're still all that to us, Emma. Number 9. For a superhero, sometimes it all comes down to the costume. John came so close to landing the title role of Captain America that he made it as far as the costume fitting.
It was a pretty big day for me.
His big fail moment came after the audition and during the costume fitting. John describes trying to get the costumes past his hips when Chris Hemsworth passed and said,
"Hey, mate." And I went, "I'm good. This is stupid."
John jokes that he immediately started taking the suit off, saying, he was just like, jacked. He was like, "You're gonna look great in that suit." And I was like, "Don't make fun of me, Hemsworth." Number 10. Casino Royale was a big gamble for actor Henry Cavill. He describes his audition for the role of James Bond in the movie, saying, "I probably could have prepared better." In the audition, Henry describes reenacting a scene from a prior James Bond film where Bond wore only a towel. I remember the director, Martin Campbell, saying, "Looking a little chubby there, Henry. I didn't know how to train or diet." And I'm glad Martin said something because I respond well to the truth. It helps me get better.
How do you take your martini?
Just shaken, not stirred.
Number 11. Could you imagine 8 Mile with Seth Rogan? Seth missed out on a role in Eminem's hit movie because he started giggling during his audition. He explains that he auditioned twice because his first audition failed to impress the casting director with his rappery dialogue. Seth was asked to bring someone with him to the second audition. He came back having brought Jason Segel with him. Seth said, "We asked our agents if our auditions could be scheduled one right after the other so that one of us could audition for Cheddar with the other reading the rabbit part, and then we'd switch." But Rogan got a case of the giggles at the audition and couldn't shake it off at all. Number 12. What do Borat and Puss in Boots have in common? Prince Caspian, of course. Actor Nicholas Hoult had a rough time with his audition for the role of Prince Caspian in the Narnia series. The actor called the audition one of my all-time worst, saying he was asked to do a Spanish accent, and modeled it off of Puss in Boots from Shrek. Nicholas explained, "I was trying to do my Antonio Banderas impression, saying, 'I am Prince Caspian.' It was horrendous. It sounded more like Borat." Number 13. In an audition, there's a fine line between doing it your way and doing it the way the casting director wants to see it. Actor Eddie Redmayne walked that line during his audition for Bilbo in The Hobbit.
And didn't want to, just do my usual boring thing.
Eddie said he'd tried to copy the way that Ian Holmes played the character in The Lord of the Rings.
My name is Bilbo Baggins.
He was stopped and told to use his own voice.
I never got a call back.
Number 14. Maybe she didn't have enough shades? Actor Lucy Hale said she was naive when she auditioned to play Anastasia in 50 Shades of Grey. Hale said that she was mortified by her bad audition, in which she read a very sexually forward monologue and didn't even really know what I was saying. Number 15. Starstruck in an audition? It happens. Just ask Jamie Foxx, who is up for the role of Rod in Jerry Maguire. Foxx said that he was so starstruck by Tom Cruise in his second audition that he messed up badly enough to make Tom laugh at him. Jamie said that at one point, Cruise took a dramatic pause, and he thought he'd just lost his place and pointed out where they were. At another point, Cruise was speaking softly, and Foxx asked him to speak up. Needless to say, Jamie wasn't a match and didn't get the role in the end. Auditions can feel like something between a casino game and a test of skill, leaving plenty of broken hearts in their wake. But at least we have some funny fails to share. Now we know there must be plenty more hidden gems of audition stories out there, so what did we miss? Do you have any audition fail stories? Let us know in the comments.